Yeah, so I wrote this poem not knowing what anybody would be saying or what would happen. And it's called Dare to Become Great. I am great, but not invincible. I am great, I'm not invisible. I am great, have possibilities. I am great. I am great, but not invincible. I am great, I'm not invisible. I am great, have possibilities. I am great. Look at me. Look at me. When you look at me, you may not know that I am great. Perhaps you saw me too late and didn't see who and what I really was. You see, I am sometimes ignored and even abhorred, but not anymore. I have learned about my possibilities and lived beyond my capabilities because you helped me to see beyond my own reality. I am the immigrant, born not of this country, but my parents came here to make a better way for my siblings and me. And it was often a struggle. Even with their degrees and qualifications from our country, all they could get were cleaning jobs and driving taxis. And just because we had an accent, people would accentuate their words and say them even louder, as if having an accent meant that I couldn't hear. But I can hear, and I am here. I'm not going anywhere. See, my hearing was fine, and so over time I learned to draw my own line in the sand and just hold up my hand and tell them I was not hard of hearing, but tired of sharing. Tired of sharing stories and experiences that no one seemed to care about, made me want to scream and shout, but instead I learned ESL and learned to spell that I-am-great. I am the young woman who may not have fit into the box that society left blank for her on that application form because she was considered a deviant, not the norm. But these boxes on applications can be devious. If you can't answer, please see the line previous. And if you don't fit into the box, then just live outside the box and never let society box you in. And I promise in the end you will win and you will become great. I am the young man whose pants were sagging, feet were dragging on the ground because when he looked around, it seemed that he was more lost and could never be found. But the art showed him a new direction, how to verbalize his inner thoughts, and soon he gained affection from audiences and crowds that gathered round to hear his words because he had a voice that needed to be heard, but he was so often overlooked because of his looks and mistaken for a street crook. Now there's a hook, but he was also great. You see, there can be benefits to not having profit when the not-for-profit help those who think they can't profit. Let me say that again. You see, there can be benefits to not having profit when the not-for-profit help those who don't think they can profit. Better still, it's not for their profit, but for the people to profit because anyone who has worked not-for-profit knows that it has been correctly named. I say this not for shame, but having worked in the not-for-profit sector myself, not always being able to put food on my own shelf when the cutbacks and the qualifications for that particular company or organization no longer had a category, and so it was like the game Scattergories. Words scattering across the proposal page, mission statements having to change and setting brand new quotas that qualified so that our proposal would not be queried or become a question, but an answer instead of a suggestion of how we could change our entire mandate to fit into the new societal and political frames of our grant application. Sometimes reaching periods of utter frustration when that amazing program that brought benefits to a neighborhood that never got the benefit from anything good because it was identified as the hood. But that program that helped little Raheem realize he could dream was cut, ended, and it wasn't we, the organization, that pretended we cared. We do care, but we often don't have the dollars to share, and so sometimes great programs are spared because the requirements are changed. But here's the thing. For those of us who work in this sector, things didn't change because the proposal changed. You see, we are the ones who go above and beyond our own means to make young boys like Raheem know he can dream. And so we found some volunteers to help us and looked to organizations like MASS, an organization who through pro bono work put us to task and didn't ask us to prove or change or fit or squeeze or maneuver. They were simply there to help us aid in our goals and objectives and to gain new perspectives. They never questioned us or thought that we had the audacity to hope, to dream. They simply helped to build our capacity so that we could have a more level playing field. And in this field, we could create and dare others to become great and not let those without food on their plate suffer. MASS is the buffer, that missing link that brings us all to the brink of achieving remarkable things. And so this afternoon, you have heard a multi-ethnic, multi-dimensional panel, and these people were real, so you had to sit and listen and not change the channel. When Rahul spoke about the ways to improve the quality of life in the GTA, or when Debbie, who deals with the issues of people being excluded because of race, sexual orientation, or gender as it pertains to immigration, this is quite the conversation. And Michael stressing the importance of e-marketing strategy and customer loyalty, I hope it's becoming plain to see that even with this panel, we are showing you greatness through diversity. And Che, with Manifesto, a hip-hop movement now a viable part of Toronto's art scene, using arts and culture to unite young people and help them to dream. To Violetta, who brings it all home, looking at how organizations and communities and youth-led initiatives can have a huge social impact. And then there's me, the final act. Amani, that's my name, a term that means peace in Swahili, who just is here to bring it all back to you poetically. Because that's what I do, you see. And that's my gift, to compose words from what people might see as a decomposition, to deconstruct what is constructive out of what people may see as destructive, to tell the story through prolific means. And what does all of this really mean? It simply means that I am the person at the end, not here as an employee or a friend, and I am the poet bringing you contemporary words through a classic art form, perhaps unique to some of you, but for me, it's the norm. And I am not here to appoint, accuse, or to designate, but simply here to disseminate these 4 simple words: dare to become great. Thank you.